From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota equipment. Part of the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S., they offer the versatility and reliability to get the job done right, all year round. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months.
Tractors, RTV, construction equipment. You do it all, we do it local.
Well, good morning, everyone. Just wanted to give you the latest to start things off here early this morning. It's close to 4 o'clock in the morning. The latest updates coming in from the fire were last night, around 9 or 10 o'clock last night. And according to CAL FIRE, of course, about 80 acres is what the latest on the Wonder Fire is, at about 5% containment. Now, I'd be willing to guess that overnight we saw growth of the fire and maybe even better containment as well. But no way to tell until we get the latest update. Now, another thing I want to point out is that the weather conditions have improved. We saw gusty winds during the time that the fire started. The winds started to die down, though, after sunset. And not only did the winds die down, we also saw the relative humidity increase as well, giving better firefighting conditions for the fires, or for the firefighters, that is. Now, I want to show you this map here because what it's showing is, #1, the plume of smoke that came out of the fire. #2, you can see the heat signature coming from that. Now, as we got around sunset, not only, of course, you can't see the smoke because you can't see the visible, but then that's where we kind of turn over to just kind of looking at the orange spot to show you how hot the fire is burning. So shortly after sunset, you couldn't see that area of orange. And what that tells us is that the fire at that point wasn't burning very hot. And this is taking all the way through about 4 o'clock this morning, and we're not seeing that area of orange reemerge, which again tells us that the fire didn't really grow in intensity and it isn't getting any warmer. Now I'm going to just kind of get into the weather computer here, and where I want to show you here. Now there is the latest image coming in from one of the PG&E cameras. So again, from space, you can't see the fire burning, which again tells you it's not burning very hot. But here, with the cameras at the surface, you can clearly see that there is that orange glow. So the fire is obviously still burning and still active. But of course, I'm sure the firefighters are making some good ground on it. So that's a look at the latest image coming in from the PG&E camera. Now, I want to point this out because this is my website, and this is going to be a great resource for you during these fires. So we're looking at the home page right now, and of course you can see the live, there's me doing weather recording from a little bit earlier. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down here. Now what I really wanted to point out is this section right here. This is the fire section that we've got right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that. Now when you click on the fire section, it's going to show you right first and foremost fire duty. And watch duty is the name of the app. And it's a great organization. It's nonprofit. If you want to pay $25 a year, you can get helicopter information and all that good stuff. And there is a look at the Wonder Fire. Now again, the latest report coming in from it is about 80 acres at about 5% containment. You can click on the actual fire that you want right there. There you can see it. And then on the right side here, you'll see that it gives you more information, and you can scroll down and get all the latest data and the data since the fire started and get all the information coming through. So again, what we're seeing here is that's reporting 80 acres, again, that was since last night, at about 5% containment. So again, this is a great resource here, and you can do all of this without even leaving the website, because if you scroll down even more, you've got what the elevated risk here that we do have for the fire. So that's coming in from the National Weather Service. You've got the fire potential that I show you every day on the maps. And if you scroll below that, you can get any watches or warnings, any fire weather watches or red flag warnings, which at this point, there are none. And this is where the evacuations are. So let's take you right down here. And if you are if you live in evacuation zone MTG 1380, there is an evacuation warning. So, of course, the big question is what's a warning, what's an order? We're going to get into that in a second. These right here are closures. Those are the off-ramps at I-5, so just know that there are closures there. There's also a closure down to the south of that as well. So, just a lot of great information on the website that we have here. I'm going to take all of this out, and we're going to take a look at the fire tracker. And again, this just kind of confirms what this map here does is it shows any heat signatures coming in from the satellites. Now we've got the fire situated right about here, right? And there are no dots, no red dots, orange dots, or yellow dots. So again, what that's telling us is that it had not reached, or it has not reached a point overnight that it's burning so hot that the satellite is able to detect a heat signature. So again, that's great news when we're talking about fire activity. All right, so I was talking about that there is an evacuation warning right now around the Bridge Bay area. So what's the difference between an evacuation warning and order? Well, an evacuation warning is when there's potential threat to life or your property, and you should leave if it takes you additional time to evacuate, say pets or livestock, and it just kind of takes time. So just get ready to leave. Make sure you gather all of your personal belongings if you are within the evacuation warning area. Now, if there's an evacuation order, that means it's a lawful order to evacuate due to immediate threat to life and property. We're not at this point right now, but when we talk about an evacuation warning, it's just a good idea to make sure that you have all of your personal orders ready to go in case there is that actual order. Okay, so let's get to the forecast and take a look at what's going on here. First and foremost, we take a look at the fire potential here for your Tuesday. We are seeing improving conditions overall, even though it will still be pretty fairly high fire danger in some areas. Yellow, which yesterday this was brown over Trinity County, western Siskiyou County. So we've seen it go from moderate to low risk. The rest of the areas in brown is still within that moderate risk here for your Tuesday. Now that's because we do have, kind of looking at this, the elevated risk right here for fires to start for today and tomorrow. Conditions actually may get a little bit worse, especially the extreme east side of the state. So it's gone into the elevated and critical kind of category here for tomorrow. That's for Wednesday for eastern Modoc County and eastern Lassen County as well. So my guess is if this continues, there may eventually be a fire weather watch or maybe even a red flag warning for the same areas that we had them yesterday. So be on the lookout for that. So we look at the winds here this morning, not an issue. We take you into the noon hour. Again, notice where the fire is, the Wonder Fire. We're not really seeing those winds pick up through the morning, but by the afternoon, those winds are starting to pick up over 20 miles per hour and maybe stronger, especially around the vicinity of the fire. Now you can see those winds picking up today in Modoc and Lassen and even eastern Plumas counties, probably 20 and close to 30 miles per hour. Then as we take you into your Wednesday morning, we are seeing those winds die down again, which is good, but the winds may pick up again here as we take into Wednesday afternoon. Now, not as strong on Wednesday, but you'll see fairly strong, in fact, maybe even stronger as you head into Modoc and eastern Lassen counties, and not to mention parts of Siskiyou County as well. Humidity, of course, that's another thing we look at. We're seeing some pretty decent recovery overnight into the morning hours, but there you can see around noon and this afternoon we are down into the teens. But it does get a little bit higher later this evening. But look at this. I mean, we're down to 10-12% relative humidity. That's pretty low. And that can, of course, give us the higher fire danger. See some relief overnight again tonight into tomorrow morning. And then by Wednesday afternoon, still fairly low for the north end of the valley. And, of course, we're on the vicinity of the Wonder Fire. And then, of course, you've got upper teens here by the time you get into Wednesday. Again, quite low with those humidity levels. Let's take a look at that smoke forecast through the day. Today, you actually start to see some relief. Now, this may not be taking into account the Wonder Fire, but overall, the bigger fire is still down into southwestern Oregon, and we do anticipate more smoke to make its way down into Del Norte and Humboldt counties by tomorrow morning. That will then dissipate and push eastward, so maybe some clearing for tomorrow afternoon for many parts. But overall, not a huge bed of smoke over the area or even a lot of haze for that matter, but there will be periods of haze. All right, so here's the weather headlines. Much cooler this week. Highs will be dropping below normal and no big heat waves in the forecast. You know, we talk about the heat. It doesn't look like we have really a lot of heat heading our way. So hour by hour for your Tuesday. Temperatures, I think we'll get up to about 100 degrees for Redding, maybe even up to 101. Chico most likely just dodging that triple-digit mark. And for the mountains, we're going to be the low 90s for Siskiyou and Modoc County. And for the eastern mountains, we'll be looking at those temperatures upper 80s and low 90s. So really across the board in the mountains, we're talking about temperatures in the upper 80s to the low 90s. Now, I want to show you this. This is going way out. But the heat has been pushed down to our south and east, and that's why our temperatures have dropped. That's the case through the weekend. You see a storm system here, another one here, and another trough of low pressure with that cooler air associated with it. This trough of low pressure is going to kind of hold on strong. Now we're going to see some heat try to build in. This is taking you through next week, by the way. And you'll see here, as long as we got this trough here, that's preventing this heat from building in. So again, no major heat waves heading our way. Now again, looking way down the pipe, let's take a look at the monsoon moisture. We don't have any through the weekend. It's all staying to our south and east. There's the monsoon moisture there. Storm systems up to our north. Most of the clouds associated with that stay to the north. Now, it looks like by around Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, maybe some monsoon moisture and some thunderstorms popping up in the southern Cascades and northern Sierra. Not guaranteed at this point. A lot can happen between now and then, but I just want to show you that that's something that the models are picking up on and we'll have to watch for. But again, that's about a week from tomorrow. So we got a long time to kind of prepare for that and keep checking to see if that will actually pan out. But here's your forecast for your Tuesday. Now I'm expecting for the south end of the valley, temperatures mid to upper 90s, but could get up to about 100 degrees for Redding and Red Bluff. And quite honestly, that might be overdoing it for Redding, but again, I think it's going to be a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. Temperatures mid to upper 80s, even some low 90s for the higher elevations. Okay, so we'll take a look at your 7-day forecast, and there you can see for Mount Shasta City, upper 80s, low 90s. You see how the temperature is kind of going up and down and up and down. Very small peaks, very small drops. Right? That's the same story for Alturas and the same story for Susanville. Upper 80s, low 90s pretty much across the board in the higher elevations. Now, for the valley, I think Redding, Red Bluff around 100 degrees for today and tomorrow. And then we see temperatures drop again and then maybe another uptick by the beginning of next week. But look at Chico. I mean, Chico most likely staying below 100 degrees here for the next 7 days. And of course, for Redding, that's a different story, and that's also a different story for Red Bluff.